Hello, hello, and good morning to all of you. Welcome back to day three of Dare to Be Great 2024, the final Dare to Be Great. Even though people in the comments keep saying, yeah, sure, he'll be back. And you know what? Maybe in a few years, who knows? Never say never. But I'm saying right now is the final Dare to Be Great. So good morning to all of you. And I'm super excited for our opening speaker today. Thank you very much, Joe Sarah and the 360 Dispatcher, for being a diamond sponsor for this event. And Joe today is going to be giving a talk, this opening session called The Secret to Your Success. Good morning, my friend, and take it away.
What's up, Ricardo? Good morning, everybody. Great to be here again. I can't resist pointing out that if you're on the road and you have a light, you can't make it out. Those are all feathers. I don't know. The chandelier's made of feathers. Seems like a little exotic deal. So I'm Joe Serio. I am on the road outside of Houston teaching a 3-day building interpersonal communications class. And I want to talk about a little bit of programmatic things first. So I wanted to take Ricardo's program to announce a new award that we're launching next year. It's called the Guiding Light Award. And on the award, it says, for acting as a beacon of hope for humanity, may you inspire us to endure with strength and kindness. We're going to invite directors to nominate people for the Guiding Light Award. People who exhibit strength and kindness, who go above and beyond, who saving lives, and also being support, leading with love. And we want to reward those people, as many as we can, in the 911 space. So we'll collect nominations from directors. The winners will receive a free trip to the Mayan Ranch program. Many of you know that I run the ranch program in March, September, and November, about 50 miles outside San Antonio. It's, for many people, has been a life-changing experience, and we would like to offer that to people who are selected as Guiding Light winners. In addition to that, we are going to gift $1,000 to each winner. And I wasn't going to talk about this. Obviously, I'm not Amy Patan. I'm on her computer. We're on the road together. I wasn't going to mention this, but the inspiration for this was Amy. So Amy, as you may know, is my program director. And long story short, in July, she saved somebody's life in the parking lot of a supermarket here in Texas in the pouring rain. She and a bystander dragged a guy out of his truck, laid him out onto the tarmac, onto the asphalt, and did chest compressions and saved his life. That experience gave me the idea of, let's reward people for being guiding lights, for being shining lights in the lives of others. So 2025, we're going to launch that. Keep an eye out for those announcements. The ranch program, as you know, sells out almost a year in advance. I think we have a few spots left for November of next year. We'd love to see you. I see Dan Koenig's name up there, and that reminds me to say good morning, Dan. And we are finally coming to Florida with the 911 Supervisor Leadership Academy, 6-month academy next year. So we're excited about that. So last time, if you were on this program last year, you may remember that I talked about your 3 superpowers. 3 superpowers are clarity, focus, and consistency. And they're worth repeating, partly because they're super powerful, and partly because what I'm going to talk about today is an extension of that. So think about clarity. What is it that I want to do? Who is it that I am? What is it that I want? How am I going to get it? For anyone who's been to my classes, you know I beat you over the head with these questions. Who am I? What do I want? How am I going to get it? When we answer those questions as specifically as possible, we're talking about clarity, the clarity of our lives. What is it we want our lives to be? Who am I? What are my spiritual beliefs? What are my priorities? What are my values? And, it's like, can I hash this out? What do I believe in? How do I think about other people? Do I believe in service to other people as being primary? Do I believe in making money for myself as being primary? There's no right or wrong answer. What is it that you want? The second one, focus, is can I create the conditions to give that path the attention it needs and deserves? Focus is the key. So critical. You know how it feels to bounce all around and not be able to focus. It's frustrating. You can't get things done. And many of you know I've written about 20 books, but what you don't know is that I have what's called inattentive ADHD. I have a very hard time focusing, and it takes all of my energy to sit down and to continually work on projects. So if you think that you're sunk because of ADHD or because of mental health issues, if they're not totally debilitating, and you're stuck in depression, deep depression, uh, work through them. You get help, seek help, understand what's happening, because I know the feeling. I know that people generally don't know this about me. I know the feeling of what it's like to not be able to get out of bed. And I don't want that to rule my life, because writing books and speaking are more important to me, are the most important things to me in terms of what I do and what I do for a living, what I do to influence people. So focus as best you can, create tools and techniques to get you out of bed, tools and techniques to keep your head in the game. And I know it sounds simplistic because I'm saying it in 30 seconds, but there are a lot of different ways to do it, and a lot of different tools. So maximize your ability to focus. Number 3 is consistency. Can you do it on a day in, day out basis? Consistency combined with clarity and focus are those 3 things are your superpowers. Those are the things that win the day. And again, having ADHD, I have a problem sometimes with consistency. I can do it for 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row, and then not do it for 2 or 3 days. So I need to have a very specific program of what is it that I do first thing out of the gate. You know, when these books get written, the 50 lessons books, you may be familiar with Dispatcher Stress, 50 Lessons for Beating the Burnout. We've got Dispatch Supervisor book coming out. We have the books on fear and emotional intelligence. Those books have to get written early in the morning. I know that. So I have to create my day so that I'm doing nothing else at 5 o'clock in the morning. Right? You got my point? So I wanted to reiterate it because it's quick. It's a fairly quick, resume summary of those 3 things. Your superpower: clarity, focus, and consistency. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up is because I got a text the other day from Pam Apoka. I certainly hope, I've known Pam a long time, but I'm not sure I've ever said her name out loud. So I hope I pronounced that right, Pam Apoka. So Pam sent me a text. A memory popped up on her Facebook. And she said, I'm watching the virtual 911 conference called Dare to Be Great. And this guy's talking about clarity, focus, and consistency, gratitude, and setting boundaries on a daily basis. Okay? And then at some point, if you were here last year, you may remember that I leaned into the camera like this. And I just said, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Right? The message still stands a year later. What are you waiting for? But none of that was planned. It was just off the cuff. And I leaned in and said, what are you waiting for? Pam sent me a note and she said, I'm starting culinary school next month because of this right here. And she's got a screenshot of me doing last year's presentation. Thank you for giving me that push. And then she sent me a long text about her journey to culinary school and that she's lost 25 pounds and all kinds of, she's got so many things going on. She'll be 50 years old. Here's her last sentence. I'll be 50 years old next month and living my dream. So one of the questions is, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? And I love that last sentence. I'll be 50 years old next month. I was watching a speaker on TV once. She had an audience in front of her. And Woman in the audience said, I always wanted to go to medical school, but I'm 50 years old. When I graduate from medical school, I'll be 54 years old. And the speaker said, you're going to be 54 anyway. Would you rather have your dreams at 54 or regrets about what you could have done? I'm a firm believer that it's never too late until you're in the ground. I just turned 60 years old. I'm having the life I want to have. But number one, it wasn't easy. And number two, it took me more than half my life to get to this point. So don't give up. Clarify what it is you want. Set aside time to focus on it. You can tell your family to leave you alone. Like, I've seen people do this. Leave me alone. You're not allowed to interrupt me between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. You can ask me anything you want before 7. You can ask me anything you want after 8. But that hour in between, unless something's burning or somebody's bleeding, you cannot interrupt me. You're allowed to do that. Your family does not need to be waited on hand and foot all the time. When my mom was 49 years old, a lot of you know that I have 11 siblings. And when she was 49 years old, she said, okay, I feel like the house is empty, which to her meant there were only 6 kids living at home. You guys, I'm going back to college, because she quit college to get married. And she said, go figure out how to cook. I'm going to the library. So the kids had to learn how to cook. And guess what? Nobody missed a meal. Nobody lost weight. Nobody died of food poisoning. And my mother got straight A's, 4.0 every semester. What do you want? Life is 98% a head game. It's not about how much everyone else sucks. It's not about how much the world sucks. It's not about bureaucracy and admin. It's not about the idiot, in the console next to you. Are those challenges? Yes, of course. But when we know what we want and where we're going, it's easier to stay on track. It's easier to say no to people. 3/4 of the people who come to my class, when I ask who has a problem saying no, 3/4 of the audience puts their hand up every single time. How can you get clarity and focus and consistency if you can't say no? So that's that piece. Congratulations to Pam. Super proud of you. So exciting. And listen, it empowers all of us. The reason I'm telling the story is because I want to empower you, but more so, I want you to empower yourself. Pam empowered me. She didn't know that the day she sent the text, I really, really needed to hear that. Because regardless of what you think, speakers, trainers, Tony Robbins, whatever, all these big names, we all go through the same thing. We all have doubts. We all have fears. Some of us suffer from depression. We have to figure out how to manage ourselves day in and day out. They're no different. You and I are no different, except for one thing. We figured out how to manage ourselves. Are you managing yourself well? So the new thing I wanted to mention today is the secret to your success, building on clarity, focus, and consistency, is this. And I've been watching people all around the world. I lived in Russia for 10 years. I lived in China for a year. I've traveled all over the world. I've done all kinds of things. I come from a big family. I've been watching people for a long time. And here's a major difference between people who get what they want and people who don't. People who are successful, however you want to define that, and people who aren't. It's the difference between failing fast and failing slow. Right? I'm excited about Pam because Pam decided to fail fast. It's like, okay, let's rearrange my life. Let's jump into culinary school. Let's go work in restaurants. Let's do this thing. Lost a bunch of weight, is going creating her future. Okay. When people fail fast, here are a couple of advantages they have over everyone else. They learn very quickly what doesn't work. They jump in, they fall on their faces, they experiment, they try something else, they learn what doesn't work, they fall on their faces, they try something else, and they tweak things as they go. And before you know it, they've learned more in 6 months than we think we can learn in a lifetime. How is it that people get so accomplished? People fail fast. Successful people fail fast. Okay? Other people fail slow. What does that mean? I had somebody in class yesterday who said, I'm afraid of public speaking, and I had to attend a program to, I think it was a instructor program, right? She was going to be a 911 instructor. She had to take this class. And when she found out there was going to be public speaking, she dropped. On day one, she dropped the class. Okay, now think about this. She has to now wait to see when it comes around again. When is that class going to be offered again? And then is her life, her family life, her personal life aligned well enough for her to be able to take advantage of the next date that class is offered? So it could be she has to wait for a month. Could be she has to wait for 3 months. It could be that she has to wait for 6 months. People who fail fast, they grab that month that she's waiting. They attended the class. They figured out how to get over their fear of public speaking. They jumped in. And guess what? Everybody, you, me, everybody is going to be embarrassed. They're going to feel embarrassment. They might feel shame, might feel guilt. They're going to feel rejection. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to fall on their face. Everyone's going to be able to see it. In this case, public speaking. You're going to be able to see your mistakes out in the open. And you may think, I have to protect myself from that. Because your brain wants to protect yourself from that. Your brain wants to protect yourself from all threats and all danger. And the fact of the matter is, you have to manage your brain more effectively and say, all right, I need to jump in this thing, even though it's scaring the hell out of me. Because we know that failing fast is the magic bullet. If you have clarity and you have focus and you have consistency and you have the nerve to jump in, you're going to move so much more quickly than you would have otherwise. You're going to achieve so much more than, and by the way, you're going to show your kids, if you have kids at home, you're going to show your kids how to succeed. Because you know what kids are like. They're in your environment. They pick up the vibe. They know what's going on. They know that mom or dad are afraid. And if you can show them and teach them that afraid anyway, you decide to jump in. Making mistakes, you decide to jump in. Being embarrassed, you decide to go back anyway and keep going. If you read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, one thing he talks about is the flywheel. So trying to turn the flywheel. And if you try to turn a wheel at first, it's hard to turn. And the critical element is, how can I get that wheel turning faster and faster? Why? Because once you get the wheel turning faster and faster, the momentum will carry you. This is why people fail fast. Successful people fail fast, and they know it because they understand that if they keep going, the momentum will carry them. If they start and keep going, they will meet people who are trying to get to the same goal as them. They know that it will be harder for them to stop because they have the momentum going. Do you have the nerve to clarify what you want? Do you have the nerve to set aside time to focus? Do you have the nerve to consistently chase on a regular basis the things that you want? A couple of things that really help in this. Number one, don't look at social media too much. I mean, I look at social media on a regular basis, but don't look at it too much. Don't read too many of the comments. Or if you want to feel good about yourself, maybe you should read a lot of the comments and realize, you're not the worst thing on the planet. Don't get caught up in people's opinions. The people who have time to write opinions, especially kind of, trolling kinds of crap, the people who have time to write those things and spend a lot of time on social media aren't going after what they want. They're not. I can tell you that for a fact. People who spend a lot of time worrying about other people's opinions aren't going after what they want. If you go online, you go on YouTube and look up Arnold Schwarzenegger and his motivational video, one of his rules, one of his 6 rules is don't pay attention to the naysayers. The less we pay attention to the naysayers, the faster it is to move, right? Fail fast. Number 1, minimize social media as much as you can. Number 2, get people around you. You know why I love talking to Ricardo? Because we're moving in the same direction. We have ideas. We have book ideas. We have ideas for the ranch. We have ideas for classes. We have ideas for programs. Those are the people I want around me. Why do I have Amy around me? Because she's a fantastic person. She's an experienced dispatcher. She was an ops manager at a center. She knows the industry, and she's one of the kindest people I've ever met in my life. Be careful about who you surround yourself with. You want people to challenge you. You want people to help you fail and help you fail fast and help you get back up as quickly as you can. Kelly Cunningham, other people's opinion of me is none of my business. Absolutely right. 100%. Do your thing. Put your product out in the world. If your product is a book, a program, or yourself, make the product as good as you can and get out there. I'm a big fan of expressing what's inside of you. Okay? My goal is to express what's inside of me. I'm not a 30-year career person. I'm not the guy who had to join a corporation, right? That's old school what our parents, went through. But for me personally, I want to express whatever's inside of me. So I just wrote my first children's book, which is insane. Like, what the hell am I doing writing a children's book? But I had a story, and I wrote it really fast, and I shared it with people, and we rewrote it really fast, and it's going to come out in a week or two, but it's like, wait a second. Number 1, I don't care what other people think. Do I have something to say? Yes. It doesn't mean I'm going to be an asshole about it, right? It doesn't mean I'm going to be an idiot and just be rude to people. But I'm not going to let them stop me to express what I have to express in the best way I can. If you fail fast, you learn those lessons really fast. If you bring people around you, the right people, they help you fail fast. The people who fail slow are the people who are wringing their hands saying, oh my God, what if people make fun of me? They will. What if I embarrass myself? You will. What if I can't do? What if it doesn't come out right? What if I make a mistake? You will. It's going to happen. The faster you move through that space, the faster you get to the other side, the faster you figure out the rules of the game and the logic of the game that you're playing, right? It's the same. It's the same for every game. I just learned the rules of the game of writing a children's book. I just learned the rules of the game of publishing, for that genre. I just learned the rules of the game of, right, fill in the blank. Because every game has its rule. When you became a dispatcher, you were nervous, maybe you dragged your feet, maybe you were afraid, maybe you failed slow. And you started over time figuring out, what are the rules of the game of this dispatch thing? Oh yeah, don't take anything callers say personally. I've done more than 100 hours in comm centers listening to calls, and I hear dispatchers start taking it personally. Callers don't know who you are. They don't know who you are. They don't care about you. They're not interested. So you don't ever have to take it personally. If you figure out how to not take things personally, you can fail fast. The faster you fail, the faster you succeed. And it's gonna be unpleasant. It's gonna be unpleasant. There are gonna be moments like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I'm sick of this. Right? It's too difficult. It's too emotional. That's fine. That's the game. Understand, that's the game. That's the game of life. That's how this works. Get clear, get focused, get consistent, and fail fast. Get yourself a good tribe. Now I have to lean in as I conclude this. I'm going to lean in and ask you, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You're 30 years old. You're 40 years old. You're 50 years old. It doesn't get easier. Do it now. What are you waiting for? I want to get texts from you like I got from Pam. I want to hear about how awesome you are. I want to hear about how you accomplish things that you never thought was possible. What are you waiting for? Ricardo, that's it. I'm done. So, that's all I wanted to say. I had 30 minutes. I'll use 28 of them. Uh, so I'm happy to turn it back over to Ricardo. Uh, I know we have 2 minutes. I mean, if anyone has anything to say, that's great. Uh, any questions, whatever, that's fine. But Ricardo, there you go. I appreciate you having me. Thank you for the sponsorship, allowing me to sponsor this great program. I remember being on, I don't know, it was on 3 or 4 of them. And it was a great thing you did during COVID. And, it's just, you keep up the great things you're doing, brother, because you inspire us, we inspire you, and that's how it works. We just keep going around and around and helping people, each other, get to a higher level.
That is what I'm talking about, man. And thank you very, very much for the great message this morning. And I just since the beginning, it has been awesome. I mean, we've spent time going up and down those big ass hills that I believe our good friend Tina Bonetta did not believe were in. I remember that in Texas. You're like, bro, you need to take video of this. I'm like, what? Why? What's going on? He goes, I'll tell you. Joe goes, I'll tell you in a minute.
Yes, the lovely Tina Bonetta, director of the awesome Aurora 911 in Colorado. She said, there are no hills in Austin. I live in Austin. There are no hills in Austin. Well, yeah, east side of Austin is flat, but the west side of Austin is hilly. So Ricardo and I had to drive around and take video of the hills of Western Austin. And of course, when she received the videos, Tina said, those aren't hills.
I know. I was like, is it
I don't
AI?
believe you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, again, it's always good to have you on, man. And like I said, since the beginning, we've been doing some cool shit together, and I feel the same way. I want to surround myself with people that are forward thinking, continuing to evolve and not stay in the same place. And I think I know you've said this many times, and I feel the same way. Sometimes we get in our own way. We get in our own heads, and it ends up bringing us down or putting us in a state where we're thinking, I don't think I'm going to go anywhere. I'm not going to go any further. I have to compare it to about last March when I drove to the ranch, and you said you're like you're insane. And I was like, I know, and I stayed in Texarkana, and yeah, everyone was like, the town that dreaded sundown. I'm like, don't tell me that. Like, but I needed that drive. I needed to drive that time because there was just a lot of soul searching and stuff. And I remember we had a conversation because I said, I'm thinking about going into like using some of my content and the stuff that I've done over the years to create a class, but I don't know, man. I don't know that I've seen myself to be able to do a straight up 8 hour class. And I remember us sitting there and you looked at me and you said, how long have you been doing this? And I said, like over a decade. And and Joe goes, you've been doing this whole time, just not at an 8 hour span. And I thought, damn, no, you're right. Like, I don't know. I needed that soul searching and to be out there in the ranch and just our conversations to put myself in that mindset. And I've been doing it for over a year now, and it has been amazing. So I thank you for your words of wisdom and just believing in everyone else and also in you and what you do because it has been awesome, man. And it has been for a lot of people. And I will say for myself as well, being out there in the ranch and just having these conversations, life altering. So thank you. And I think a lot of people in the comments who have been here, who have heard you speak before, and also who have been out to the ranch know this exact same thing as well, that experience. And I know for you, um, you have said like, and you said it today as well, like you guys are the reason, this it's your why, and it's awesome. I think their energy with a lot of the stuff that we've done, but just listening to you and seeing you as well is that fills your cup.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate you. We're going to be back this afternoon, so we'll do a wrap up.
Right.
We'll be chatting for about an hour or so.
Yes,
And
sir.
this is the
Yeah.
wind up the day, so we'll get into some more of what's happening.
Yes. So everyone, I'm going to bring you to the next one. We have got Amy, who's going to be coming up, and her session, I believe, is Lead with Love. And I don't have the agenda for the actual title on here. I was waiting for her to pop her head to be like, "Yep, that's the one."
Here she is. Here she comes. It's her chair now. Thanks,
Right?
everybody.
Yes. We'll see you all in the next one, and I'll bring you over.